Delegations from France, Germany, Italy and Romania were met with an air raid alarm in Kyiv. According to media reports, during the visit of the foreign guests, Russian troops launched a number of missiles from the temporarily occupied Crimea towards the Ukrainian capital. Despite the air raid alarm, Emmanuel Macron, Olaf Scholz, Mario Draghi and Klaus Iohannis visited Irpin, a city several kilometers from the Ukrainian capital, destroyed and burned down by the Russians. This was the first time each of the European leaders had seen the consequences of the Russian military's occupation here.
Yeah, so this is the famous bridge.
Then the official ceremonies. The presidents of France and Romania, the Prime Minister of Italy and the Chancellor of Germany went to the Mariinsky Palace for talks with the Ukrainian side. As previously announced, they talked about overcoming the food crisis, about military and political support for Ukraine, and of course about the issue of the Ukraine's candidate status for EU membership.
The visit of the four leaders to Kyiv and our negotiations have once again proved that our key strength and the most effective weapon is unification, on which everything else depends. Russian aggression against Ukraine is aggression against all of Europe, against all of united Europe, against each of us, against our common values, and our joint response should be united only. Ukrainians today are on the front line in the fight against Russian hits, but they are not alone. And this is confirmed by the format of our meeting today.
European leaders promise not to leave Ukraine alone with the aggressor. Each of the guests assured that they will do everything for Ukraine to receive first the status of a candidate and then a member of the European Union.
The European Union today demonstrates unity and that assistance which President Volodymyr Zelenskyy asked us to provide. The members of the European Union have spoken to their parliaments, to their people, and have set themselves up for fruitful work. This also applies to assistance for refugees who have faced Russian aggression. The European Union confirms readiness with its allies to help Ukraine. Italy, among other countries, wants to see Ukraine in the European Union, in the European family.
They also talked about financial and military support for Ukraine. According to Emmanuel Macron, France plans to increase the supply of weapons. 6 additional Caesar howitzers will soon appear in the arsenal of the Ukrainian armed forces, Macron said. Thus, in total, Paris will transfer 18 self-propelled artillery systems to Kyiv.
We will increase our support. $2 billion have already been allocated. Caesar self-propelled artillery systems have also been transferred, which will allow Ukrainian soldiers to defend themselves more effectively against Russian attacks. The war crimes that Russia has committed on Ukrainian land must not go unpunished. We need international justice to do its job. A mobile laboratory for DNA analysis will be provided in the near future. This is a very important tool for collecting evidence.
The German side, meanwhile, has promised to help close the skies over Ukraine. Germany, Olaf Scholz says, will supply Iris air defense systems.
We started supplying weapons to Ukraine and we will do this in future as long as Ukraine needs it. We are training the Ukrainian military to use modern weapons, self-propelled howitzers and anti-aircraft systems. We also promised to supply Iris air defense systems that will defend entire cities from air attacks. We also agreed with the United States and Great Britain that we will provide multiple rocket launchers, so you can see that Germany supports Ukraine.
The politicians also discussed the food crisis provoked by the Russian aggression. According to President Klaus Iohannis, Ukraine and Romania will continue to develop joint trade routes for the export of Ukrainian provisions.
There is no doubt that Ukrainians in need can count on the Romanian people and government for as long as they need. We are now at the point when we witness Russia adding yet another blackmail instrument to its actions. We have discussed this issue today and also the possible solutions envisaged. As a relevant part of the solution to the food insecurity generated by Russia, Romania is actively involved in facilitating the transit of Ukraine exports and in serving as a hub for grain. Since the beginning of the Russian invasion, the port of Constanța has ensured the transit of almost 1 million tons of grains from Ukraine.
Also, when the Ukrainian journalists asked Emmanuel Macron about concessions to Putin, the French leader said Ukrainian territories temporarily occupied by Russia cannot be bargained, and the Ukrainian side can come to negotiation table only on its own terms. Reported by Pavlo Shtelmach, Larisa Zubenko, Viktor Holodko, UATV News.